in Naturalis Biodiversity Center, but I'm always or more often in Wageningen University because this is the university that I will graduate on. The title of my presentation, which is actually a paper that we have now under revision in genetic resources and crop evolution. The title of it is Maroon Rice Yield and Growth in Traditional Settings. So I said for the first slide, rice is our food because all Surinamese people at least eat, if you're not allergic to rice, you at least eat the rice once a day, at least once a day. Rice is for if you don't know it, it's one of the most consumed cereals worldwide, and it has two domesticated species. The first one, or the first rice species that was domesticated, is the Asian rice, or Oryza sativa, domesticated in some 9,000 years ago in Asia, and transported to Africa by Portuguese traders in the 15th century. And it is currently the commercial rice varieties that you'll find everywhere. Another variety or species that was domesticated is the African rice, or Oryza glaberrima, and it was domesticated some 3,004 years ago in West Africa. And as far as we know, there's no commercial use of it on a global scale. It is used as a commercial crop in some parts of West Africa, but not on a global scale as it is for Asian rice in the rest of the world. If we look on rice production in Nikeri, which is a commercial rice farming system that they are using, in 2020, the production was around 250,000 tons. In 2021, it went a bit up to 2,063,000 tons. In 2022, it came a bit down, probably because of the corona pandemic, to 185,000 tons. And the production area and production capacity of traditional rice farming in the hinterland of Suriname, in the villages, in the Maroon communities, is not known. And then also in the Netherlands, there's no rice production. Most of all the rice that is consumed in the Netherlands is imported to the Netherlands. Here I have three pictures depicting the difference of commercial rice varieties and traditional rice varieties that we've collected in Suriname. You can see the commercial rice varieties. They are a bit slim, very slender grains, ranging between 9 millimeters to 11 millimeters, and depending on preferences of clients, or let's say you can ask for specific traits that you want. For the maroon rice varieties or traditional rice varieties, you can see they are in all shapes and colors. They have awns, they are brown, they are slender, they are round. The grains, even that is what we eat, some of them have a purple color and some of them are white. And people don't really care how the rice variety looks. For the selection mechanisms for the two different rice varieties is that when we look at commercial rice varieties, high production is very important. Revenues for the companies is very important. Feed a growing population, because that's very important. Rice is one of the most consumed grains, so feeding the global population is important. All the varieties that are selected are wetland varieties. They need to be planted in clay soils with a lot of water. And the big markets, like I mentioned one slide ago, have specific preferences. For example, if you look at the risotto rice, it is a specific, it's a specific type of rice, it's a specific variety. But that is indicated, the big markets indicate what type of rice they want. Some of them are also, they have a very nice smell. That's also indicated by the markets. A lot of fertilizers and herbicides, pesticides are used to produce commercial rice varieties. You have to contain all the pest, all the health, plant health is addressed, so you can reach the production that you need. And all of them are glabrous. They are long, thin, and mostly white grains. For the traditional varieties, it is slightly different. High production is not necessarily a target. Nobody will keep a rice variety that is not producing, but producing a lot is not necessarily the target. The maroons indicated that they have fast, medium, and long duration varieties, whereas in commercial variety, this is not the case. Uh, it is important for food availability and food security. You should always have something to eat um, in traditional setting. And then for the varieties, we've collected wetland varieties and dryland varieties. So it doesn't matter. Everything that produces rice and produces well, it's kept within a traditional farming system. And then the primary target is for food availability and food security, and only the excess enters local market. So it is not sold on a global scale. You won't find it, as far as I know, in big supermarkets in the Netherlands. Fertilizer, herbicide, and pesticide are not used. And then, like the slide before this one, you see the grains are hairy, they have a long on, and they're all shapes and sizes. Look at the difference. If you look at the maroon proficient field compared to a coastal commercial rice field in Nikeri. There is a radical difference. A commercial rice field in Nikeri is an open wet polder on clay soils, semi-mechanical sowing and harvesting. Rice is grown as a monoculture crop. The use of fertilizer, pesticide, and herbicide is a lot. A maroon proficient field, on the other hand, has multiple crops in it: cassava, okra, plantain, sugarcane, and rice. And some crops that we have not mentioned are plants that we have not.
Wacht even, 15 april? Ja.
I'm hearing someone. Michael?
Everybody can mute the microphone. I can mute all, but then you are probably muted as well.
How's that, Michael?
Okay, go on.
Okay, so there are also other plants, medicinal plants within a maroon proficient field. The remains of trees are not removed because over time, as they rot, they provide nutrition to the crops. After rice is sown, farmers most of the time, or usually all those that we visited, they do not use agrochemicals to fight against diseases and pests. They just leave them to grow. So we've came to the conclusion that 1 hectare of rice in a commercial rice field is not the same as 1 hectare of rice in a maroon proficient field. The problems that we stated with this were, for this article, is that maroon agriculture in general has been viewed as primitive and unproductive, both in times and post-colonial times. So before 1975, when we got our independence, and thereafter. One of the suggestions that they made was that dry land variety should be replaced They are not suitable for permanent cultivation. This statement was made by Budelman and Ketelaar in 1974. Maroons are unable to renew their destructive way of agriculture. Because of their agriculture, there's loss of forest and precious trees. That was said by AdeKUS in 1955. Low grain yields are problematic for maroons. That was said by Nascente and Cromocardi in 2016 and by Narayan in 2021. Maroon rice varieties produce significant low yields between 700 kg and 1,000 kg per acre. And then all of the researchers before us somehow mentioned this. The gap in science were that maroon rice farmers indicated short, medium, and long rice varieties, although they do not register sowing and harvesting dates. Our own this was we came to this. We found this information based on our own observation and interviews. Birds predate equally on all rice varieties according to the majority of farmers, but the literature suggests that on varieties are better equipped against bird predation. Two publications we found for this in Porteres 1965 and Bullard in 1988. And we also wanted to know, do short duration varieties produce less than medium and long duration rice varieties? And the statement yields are low. Nobody measured rice production in a maroon rice farming system. Our research question was, what is the time to maturation for the varieties classified as short, long, and medium, short, medium, and long? What is the general yield of these varieties in a traditional farming system, in a maroon rice farming system? What is the time to maturation and yield of commercial rice varieties? We got two varieties from Nikeri and planted them in a maroon rice farming system because we wanted to know what happens if you do that. Our hypotheses were that short duration varieties yields are lower and longer duration varieties are higher. During marronage, people needed to escape, for that they needed food, and those short duration varieties gave them food security. And once they were safely settled in the interior, they could look for medium and long duration varieties that produce more. And now the diversity, they still keep all of them because it is important. Nobody measure the climate aspects. You don't know how much rain will come this year or how much rain will come next year. So you keep everything to make sure that you have food. On varieties, we predicted or hypothesized that on varieties have a higher yield because they protect against bird predation, and within the on there's also photosynthesis going on. And then commercial wetland produce less in maroon farming systems. And also, if you sow and harvest maroon rice within a traditional setting, you'll have a better assumption of its yield and growth rate. And all this, we wanted to provide reliable data for the discussion of rice yield and food security in maroon communities. The materials that we've used is that we've selected 28 maroon rice varieties, and 8 of them were long duration. You can see a picture of the Alekisola. 10 were medium, such as Pende, a picture of it, and then 10 short duration, such as Matuadise, which is Glabarima. Our study site, we selected Wahati. It has a different soil type than other maroon communities. It is a swampy peat soil. And the field we selected was not open. The last time the farmer used it was some 5 years ago. And in Diafutu, which is Brokopondo Centrum close to the lake, the soil is laterite mixed with brown and yellow sand in it. And then Pokigurong, it had a different soil type, brown and white sand mixed. And both fields in those two areas were not used not so long ago. We looked at the amount of tillers per plant in a square meter, the panicles per plant per square meter, the grains per panicle for each variety, total grain yields per square meter, and the plots. We had 3 plots of 1 square meter each. Our results, if we look at the height, the maroon land race is at an average height of 154 centimeters. And this is beneficial for, you'll find that most of the maroon land races are higher than commercial varieties, because it's better to, when you're harvesting, if you can stand up, it's better for your back. The women told us that. And you can see here, Anna Huur in her field harvesting last July, August. The two commercial cultivars that we introduced into the communities or into the field were significantly lower than what they are in Ikeri. In a maroon field, they were only 52 centimeter high, and normally they use a 100 and they reach 125 centimeter. There's no significant difference between the 3 groups that were indicated by the maroons. The short, medium, and long, they all overlap one another. The first variety was ripe or ready to be harvested at 110 days. And the last was ready to be harvested at 129 days, which is Alekisola and Vitihedema. One variety that was extremely long, I think over 6 months, is the Masa Alisi, and that we sowed in the Kotika area. But we did not harvest it because it was after our fieldwork period. And the 19 days difference between the first ready to harvest and the last ready to harvest as 19 days is more for workload management for the women that are busy in the fields. When we look at the production, you see that there's no real difference between short, medium, and long. We had to correct for sowing density because every farmer uses a different sowing density than from one another. It's not the same for each farmer. The 28 varieties that we sowed, 5 did not reach maturity. They only reached 10 centimeter. 2 of them did not germinate, and one of them, the Masa Alisi, was harvested outside fieldwork. Below 100 kg, as what was estimated before, are 2 varieties, the Alisi, and this one is actually strange. We don't know why it produces so low. For the Sikasi, we know because of the name, it is a small seed, and we expected it, even if the harvest is a lot, because the seeds are small, it is difficult for it to reach above 1,000 kg. Above 2,000 kg, we've found 5 land races that produce above 2,000 kg. And actually, the Calabarima, which we expected to produce low, was one of those that produces above 2,000 kg. And then when we corrected the data, there are 10 varieties that produce above 2,000 kg per acre. The commercial varieties that we introduced produced significantly lower at 912 kg per acre, and normally in Ikeri they produce 6,000 kg on 1 hectare. And most of that was because of the bird predation on the commercial varieties. And then we've looked also, is it influential, the plant height? Does that lead to more yield or no? And the answer is no, that there's no correlation between maturation time and plant height, and it does not influence the yield as well. When we look at our discussion, maroon land races produce more than double of what was assumed in the past, as you could see from the slide before this one. The land races are well adapted to the environment in which they are planted. They are able to grow better on poor soils, and the bird predation is significantly lower. Commercial varieties that we introduced struggled a lot in the new environment. There's no segregation between short, medium, and long duration in the 28 that we studied. But maybe if we study, because we've collected over 400 varieties, maybe if you saw all of them and follow all of them, you will see this segregation. Maybe our sample size was too small to see this. No segregation in short, medium, and long. And then one thing that's very important to note is that maroons do not measure yield in kg per hectare, but more so how much can one family consume their own harvest, how long. And we've came across women that say, well, yes, from my own harvest I can eat 6 months, 1 year. I can reach the next harvest with my own rice. We had to reject the hypothesis that short duration produce less and medium long duration produce more. That's not feasible, like I mentioned before. And then we concluded that the suggestion that people made, that researchers made before us, that maroon land races should be replaced, is probably not a good idea. This will lead to yield loss and less food security in maroon communities. And when you're talking about yield and the discussion of crop varieties, consider under which conditions those land races were selected and developed. And then also interpret your results carefully. If you've removed the land races into another environment, because it might be that just like what we saw with the two commercial varieties, they are not suitable for a maroon farming system. And the same can be true if you remove maroon land race into another environment on a clay soil, for example, then it might struggle because of the environment and not so much because of its production. The paper is now under review at Genetic Resource and Crop Evolution, but there's a preprint online at Research Square. So if you want to read a bit more about it, you can check that out. And I've placed the link to the preprint here also. Thank you. That's it.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Nicholaas. And I guess there will be soon a thesis in print as well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions? And I see a question by Devika.
Yes, Nicholaas, thank you for your nice presentation. I was wondering, when you were talking with, I know it's not your research question, but I was just curious, when you were talking with the commercial farmers in Nikeri about the traditional varieties and the yield and all the positive effects of not having to use any fertilization or pesticides or fungicides, how did they react? Did they sound interested, or were they more like, okay, we're sticking to the varieties that we are used to farming anyway?
No, we have not talked with commercial farmers in Nikeri. We are working mostly with Jerry from Adron. Yeah, so no, but I think it's because of the lower yields, the Nikeri farmers are used to higher yields, I think they will focus on that because it gives more revenue. I don't think people are really looking into the positives of not using agrochemicals.
Okay, well, it's a pity, but thank you.
Thank you, Devika. Michael.
Yes, thank you for the nice presentations. Apologies that my mic was on. I didn't know that. So apologies for the disturbance during your presentation. And the question that I have is, what I know from literature is that the African rice varieties that are used in Suriname, that they have more shatter than the commercial species. So they have done research in Africa of putting bags along before the harvest, so to collect the seeds that would normally fall. Have you done the same, and to see if you have a higher yield when you collect the seeds that would normally shatter?
No, so one correction, until date, and we've looked at quite a lot rice varieties. Tinder have collected one in 2006, and until date is the only one confirmed African rice variety, the black one that I had, I think, on my second slide. So that's the only Glaberrima that we have in Suriname. And then what farmers do, there are a lot of Asian rice varieties that shatter, but you just harvest it. You harvest it before it is fully ripe. They don't wait for it to, to reach until it starts shattering. No, they harvest it maybe 1 week before the shattering starts. And actually, there's the Okaners, the Okans. I don't know if you're familiar with the different groups of Maroons in Suriname.
Yes, I
They
am.
really, yeah, they really prefer the shattering varieties because it is easier for them to remove the grains from the stalk.
Okay, thank you very much. Modesty Chiara, if I pronounce your name
Hi.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, Modesty. Good morning. I would like to say beautiful research. I would like to know how the community is responding to the results. Do you notice any incentives to kind of commercialize the maroon rice? Because you mentioned that they only sell the excesses that they have, but do you see any changes in their approach?
For the farmers themselves, or
At the farmers.
So I think since last year or 2 years, there's a lot of. I don't want to say since our research, but there's a lot of interest for maroon rice, even coming now. Last on the 1st of July, there's a lot of requests coming from people in Belgium and French Guyana, but also from Paramaribo, for maroon rice, for rice that is cultivated without agrochemicals. And the farmers, I'm not sure if they are already planning to plant more to access the market a lot more. And I'm not aware that the Surinamese government is also doing something with it. No, I don't know. I know there's a company that's interested, but as far as I know, there's no real, there's not a project going on yet.
Cool. Was there a question from Ravina, or was that retracted? And otherwise, Michael can get the floor again.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if I understood correctly, you said that there is only one species of Oryza glaberrima
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
Oh, because that surprises me.
No, yes, we have the genetic data of over 100 different varieties that we've collected, and there's no Glaberrima beside the one the black rice. No. All of them are Asian rice varieties.
Okay, I think we have to move on. But I have one more question, a bit of an ecological one. You mentioned that bird predation was more of an issue to the commercial rice, right? Do you have any clue about why that is? Is that because of the awns or?
The thing of it was ready to harvest within 100 days, so it can be that the birds attacked it because it was the first that was ripe.
But then they know where the
But
rice is, and when the others are ready,
yeah,
they eat those.
yeah, the bird they live close by. They do attack maroon rice as well, but this one was the first.
Okay.
For other farmers, explained to us that the black rice is attacked a lot, but then within a maroon farming system, it is the first that is ready to be harvested. So it might be that, but it can also be that the commercial rice variety is glabrous. It is easy to reach the grain. So yeah, they attacked it. It.
And it's observed that it's the birds, because are there any mice or other predators that
No,
play a role?
it is the birds.
Yeah.
It is the bird. I was in the field. You can hear them. You just can't see them, but you can hear them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nicholaas.